A lot of them have had a lot of trauma, especially in their childhoods, a lot of really horrific abuse. And so they come to us oftentimes in survival mode. They're really just kind of existing, just doing whatever they can to get by. And a lot of the methods that they've learned to cope are really unhealthy. So we're trying to break some of those unhealthy patterns and teach them a new way to live.
The mission of Safe Harbor has always been to empower women towards wholeness and equip them with life skills for quality living. And for us, what that means is bringing women into a home for a full year of rebuilding their lives in 6 different growth areas. So we want to cover a very holistic approach to that healing process. Those women are coming to us with a variety of complex PTSD and trauma issues. So that could be anything from sex trafficking, prostitution, homelessness, domestic violence, severe childhood abuse that was never addressed.
Realistically, it takes about 2 to 5 years, actually, for a human trafficking survivor to fully get back on their feet. So really, even Safe Harbor for a lot of these women is just a first step, which is why we introduced we now have an optional second year transitional program.
They live together in a beautiful home, and they create a therapeutic community together along with our staff.
And we do love them. You can't work that closely with a group of women and not grow to love them. So the residents feel loved, and we feel loved by them.
We have heartbreaking days where we feel far from victorious, because this is an uphill battle when you are dealing with this level of trauma and all of the coexisting disorders that go with it. But most days we're pretty full of joy because we get to see transformation happening every day.
They reclaim their stories, and it's not, it's not just all about the trauma, and it's not all about the brokenness that they face, but they see that they can use all that for a purpose, that they have hope, and that they have a life beyond where they've been.
We believe that we have everything that we need to bring a level of rescue and empowerment to these women, that they can overcome these things that have happened to them, and they can go on to live vibrant, abundant lives. And really, we just believe that's what God has done for all of us. So in many ways, we're all in need of rescue and empowerment, not just the women of Safe Harbor. So our scripture that we're focusing on for this year is Psalm 18. The women of Safe Harbor really latched on to this chapter, this poetry, and the reality of it in their own lives. And I still remember the day that we were sitting around the dining room table over there, and we started to read it. And one of them said, this is my story. This psalm is my story. And so I asked the women, I'm like, well, what does that feel like to be rescued? Do you like it? Do you wish it hadn't happened and wish that you hadn't needed to be rescued? And they were honest. Most of us don't want to need that level of intervention. And at first, it's kind of a bitter pill to swallow, right? And so they were admitting that being rescued was not a great feeling, and it wasn't something they ever wanted to happen again.
It is a story of how a perfect and flawless God came and rescued his child at just the right time, when there was absolutely no hope left. That story is mine.
Another chance. That's what many people thought I deserved. That's what many people pushed for. But why? I kept asking myself. Whoever said I wanted or needed to be rescued? God did.
The shell of my heart has been cracked open as your liquid love serves as a peroxide to my soul, allowing the deepest wounds to be cleansed and healed. All feelings of shame and unworthiness come bubbling to the surface.
It was a beautiful thing to hear them talking about how not only do they want to defeat the things that have come against them, but then they want to be a voice. They want to be a voice for women who need rescued. And we just talked about that cycle of being empowered to the point where they might be the one that helps rescue another woman who still doesn't know that there's hope and that there's healing.
Places like Safe Harbor are vital in our world today. We really want the women to own their choices. A lot of them have been stripped of power and the power to make their own decisions for much of their life. They've been in abusive situations, many of them from childhood. And so we want them to know that they're capable of making good decisions on their own. They're capable of reasoning and doing what's best for themselves.